Strangers were walking through my house, opening closets, measuring my windows, whispering in my kitchen, and I had no idea why. I was scared to death. Then I looked at my daughter, and she smiled. "Mom," she said, "don't make this difficult." That's when I knew. If family betrayal stories pull you in, subscribe and stay for the full story on Family Secret Stories. I was sitting in my favorite armchair last Friday, drinking my coffee, when I realized my daughter was trying to steal my house right out from under me. No warning, no conversation. Just strangers walking through my front door like I was already dead. I'm Evelyn Carter, I'm 62, and I'm not dead yet. But apparently nobody told the woman who opened my kitchen cabinets without asking. Or the one who measured my windows with a yellow tape measure. Or the guy in the gray coat whispering into his phone while staring at the walls my husband built with his own hands. I looked at my daughter Rachel. "What the hell is this?" She smiled too fast, that smile that never reaches the eyes. "Mom," she said, "don't make this difficult. Don't make this difficult, not let me explain, not I'm sorry. Don't make this difficult, like I was the problem. Like me being confused about strangers in my own house was the issue." The guy in the gray coat walks up and sticks out his hand. "Daniel," he says, "beautiful home, great bones." Great bones, like I'm not standing right there with a pulse. I asked him why he was inside my house. He looked confused, actually confused. Then he said the words that broke something in me. I thought the owner already agreed to sell. The listing went live yesterday. Sell my house. The house where my babies took their first steps, where my husband took his last breath, listed for sale without me knowing. I turned to Rachel. She couldn't look me in the eye. She looked at my chin, my shoulder, the wall behind me, anywhere but my face, because she knew this was wrong, and she didn't care. That's when I realized my daughter had become a stranger, and strangers don't get to keep your house, or your heart, or your damn coffee mug. You want to know how long my daughter ignored me before she showed up to steal my house? 4 months. 4 months of nothing. Not after my birthday when I sat alone with a store-bought cake and a single candle. Not after Thanksgiving when I made her favorite sweet potato casserole and she said, "That's nice, Mom," and never showed. Not even after my hospital stay in September when the doctor at Mercy General said I was lucky I didn't have a stroke. My neighbor Carol came every single day. Brought me magazines, bad coffee, stories about her grandkids. My daughter sent a text, 3 words, "Hope you feel better," with a heart emoji. Like that counts. Then 2 weeks before the strangers showed up, Rachel appeared at my door like a miracle. Groceries, flowers, tears in her eyes. "You shouldn't be living alone anymore," she said, held my hands, rubbed my knuckles like she was warming me up, asked for my spare keys, said she wanted to help, said she wanted to be more present. She even cried. Real tears, or at least they looked real. And I fell for it. God help me, I fell for every single word. Because loneliness makes fools out of smart people. I'd been so alone in that big house. My husband gone 6 years, my sons across the country. When Rachel acted like the daughter I used to have, I wanted to believe it so badly. So I gave her the keys. I signed the first document she put in front of me without reading it. Just for emergency medical decisions, Mom. I didn't want to seem suspicious of my own child. Looking back, I was an idiot. But loneliness is a hell of a drug, and my daughter knew exactly how to dose me. 3 days later, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. The bottom drawer in my kitchen was locked, not stuck, not jammed, locked, with a shiny brass padlock I'd never seen before. That drawer is mine. My grandmother's recipes on index cards. My good silverware that only comes out for Christmas. My emergency cash. $800 in 20s and 50s. Now it had a padlock on it like somebody was hiding a body in there. I asked Rachel about it. She laughed, actually laughed out loud. "Oh my God, Mom," she said, waving her hand like I was being ridiculous. "I just moved some paperwork in there so you wouldn't lose it. You know how you are with important documents." Paperwork, that's what she called it. I smiled, I nodded, I laughed along with her. Like, oh silly me, what would I do without you? But something was rotting in my gut. That night, while she was upstairs in the shower, I went back to that drawer. I tried to pull it open. Locked tight. I tried a butter knife. Nothing. Inside my own house, my own kitchen, there was a drawer I couldn't open. And my daughter had the key. I stood there staring at that padlock. My hands were shaking, not from age, from anger, from fear, from that sick feeling when you realize someone you love is lying to your face. I didn't confront her. I'm not stupid. I waited. I watched. I noticed how she answered her phone in the other room and lowered her voice. How she left the house at 11 o'clock at night and came back smelling like perfume that wasn't hers. How she looked at my furniture like she was already deciding what to keep and what to throw away. She didn't know I was watching, but I was watching every single second, and I was learning exactly who my daughter had become. At 1:13 in the morning, I heard Rachel whispering downstairs. I know the exact time because I hadn't slept. My bedroom is right above the kitchen. If you're quiet, you can hear everything. And I was so quiet I wasn't even breathing. I stood at the top of the stairs in my flannel robe, barefoot on the cold hardwood, holding the railing like it was the only thing keeping me standing. "We're running out of time," she whispered into the phone. "She's starting to notice things." My heart pounded so hard I thought she'd hear it from downstairs. I leaned closer. Then she spoke again, and her voice was colder than I've ever heard in my life. "If she refuses to sign," she said, "we may have to do this another way." Another way. What the hell does that mean? Guardianship, forging my signature, declaring me mentally unfit, having me evaluated by some doctor I've never met. I stood there in the dark feeling like my life was turning into a Lifetime movie. The kind where the family does something unspeakable and the cops show up too late. I barely slept that night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying those words over and over. Another way, another way. By the time the sun came up, I'd made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her. I wasn't going to let her know I'd heard anything. I was going to play dumb, keep smiling, pretend everything was fine, let her think she was winning. Because now I knew the truth. Rachel wasn't here to help me. She was here to take everything I had, and I was going to stop her. I just didn't know how yet. Friday morning came, and that's when the nightmare got real. 5 strangers in my house this time, not just the woman with the clipboard. 5. One carried brochures with my house on the cover, my front porch, my oak tree, my blue shutters. Another had a camera with a lens the size of my face. A woman in heels clicked through my living room measuring square footage. And Daniel, the realtor, stood in my kitchen drinking coffee from my favorite mug. My mug. The one that says, "World's Best Mom," that Rachel gave me when she was 12. I walked up to Daniel. "Why are you in my house?" He looked confused, like I was speaking a different language. "I thought the owner already agreed to sell," he said. "The listing went live yesterday." My stomach dropped through the floor. I turned to Rachel. She was standing by the back door looking at her phone, pretending she couldn't hear. "Rachel," I said. She didn't move. "Rachel, look at me right now." Finally, slowly, she looked up, and she couldn't meet my eyes. She looked at my chin, my shoulder, the wall behind me, the ceiling, the floor, anywhere but my face. Because she knew she'd crossed a line no daughter should ever cross. And she didn't say sorry. She didn't explain. She just stood there with her lips pressed together, waiting for me to have a meltdown so she could tell everyone I was unstable. I looked around my kitchen. My messy, lived-in kitchen with chipped countertops and magnets from every vacation we ever took. These people saw it as a product, a transaction, and my daughter saw it the same way. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just walked past all of them, past Rachel, went upstairs, closed my bedroom door, and sat on the edge of my bed. I sat there for a long time. And I thought about my husband, and I wondered if he'd seen this coming before I did. That night, Rachel went out for dinner. Lipstick, good earrings, expensive perfume. "Don't wait up, Mom." For the first time in days, I was alone in my own house. I didn't waste a second. Her purse was on the hallway table. Stupid, careless, arrogant, like she thought I was already beaten. My hands shook as I opened it. Receipts, lipstick, wallet, gum, and a small key on a key ring, the key to the padlock. I unlocked the drawer. Inside was a folder with my name on it. Evelyn Carter, big bold letters. Power of attorney papers, medical competency forms, property transfer documents, a listing agreement, an appraisal, and one signature line still empty. Mine, they needed me to sign. They couldn't do it without me. Not yet, but they were getting close. The competency forms were already filled out in Rachel's handwriting. A doctor's name I didn't recognize. Dates for evaluations I never agreed to. She'd been building a case that I couldn't take care of myself. that I wasn't competent, that the house needed to be sold for my own good. I sat at my kitchen table reading document after document proving my daughter was trying to steal everything. She wasn't just greedy. She had a plan, a team. She'd been working on this for months, maybe years. And she almost got away with it. Then I remembered something my husband told me before he died. He was weak, barely able to speak. But he grabbed my wrist with the last bit of strength he had and pulled me close. If Rachel ever starts caring more about this house than about you, he whispered, check the basement. I thought grief made him paranoid. I thought he was just scared of dying. But sitting there with my daughter's betrayal spread out on the table, I finally understood. He knew something I didn't, and whatever it was waiting for me in the basement. At 2 a.m, I went downstairs with a flashlight. The basement stairs are steep and narrow. I held the railing with one hand and pointed the light with the other. It smelled like dust and old concrete and every memory this house ever held. Behind an old wooden panel near the furnace, a panel I'd walked past 1,000 times without ever noticing, I found a latch. I pulled it. The panel swung open. Behind it was a metal box, dark green, rusted, the size of a shoebox. I sat down on the concrete floor and opened it. Inside were letters, bank records, photographs, and one document that changed everything. The house wasn't fully in my name. My husband had quietly placed part ownership into a protected family trust years ago. Back when Rachel was still in high school. Back when she was just a moody teenager and not whatever she'd become, he never told me, but the papers were right there in my shaking hands. Legal, official, ironclad. According to the trust, Rachel couldn't sell anything without triggering a full legal investigation. Not a slap on the wrist. An actual investigation by actual lawyers. The trust required signatures from 2 independent trustees, neighbors, friends, people who wouldn't help Rachel steal from me, and buried deeper in the folder was something even worse. Photocopies of loan applications, bank statements with red circles around certain numbers, and proof that my daughter had already tried to borrow money against my house behind my back. She walked into a bank, told them I was sick and dying, and tried to take out a second mortgage. My house. The bank denied her because the trust showed up on their search, so she moved to Plan B, get me to sign everything willingly. I sat on that cold basement floor with my dead husband's secrets spread out around me like a gift from the grave, and I started to cry. Not because I was sad, because I was grateful. My husband knew exactly who our daughter would become, and from beyond the grave, he'd protected me. He'd always protected me. I stayed in that basement for 2 hours, reading every single paper in that box. The letters were the hardest. My husband wrote them years before he got sick, hidden away like a time capsule. Evelyn, one of them said, "If you're reading this, I'm probably gone. And if you're reading this, Rachel probably did something to make you look in the basement. I'm sorry. I hoped I was wrong about her. But I wasn't." He wrote about things he noticed when she was young. the way she lied without flinching, even when caught red-handed, the way she manipulated her siblings into doing her chores, the way she could cry on command. Real tears streaming down her face while she calculated her next move. "She's not evil," he wrote. "She's broken, and broken people break things, including families." The bank records showed me something else. Rachel had debts. A lot of them. Credit cards maxed out. A car loan she'd stopped paying over a year ago. A business loan in default that was now in collections. She needed money fast, and my house was the only thing standing between her and financial ruin. The photographs were the strangest thing in the box. Pictures of Rachel meeting with people I didn't recognize, men in suits, a woman who looked like a real estate agent, someone at a bank counter signing papers. My husband had hired a private investigator before he died. He knew about the loans, he knew about the meetings, he knew about the plans, and he set up the trust to stop her before she could even start. I sat there in the dust and the dark holding proof that my own daughter had been plotting against me for years. Not months, years, while I was making her Thanksgiving dinner, while I was sending her birthday cards with checks inside, while I was telling my friends how proud of her I was. She was waiting for my husband to die so she could take everything we built together. I wiped my face with the back of my hand and stood up. My knees cracked. My back ached. But my heart felt stronger than it had in years, because now I knew the truth, and knowing the truth meant I could fight back. The next evening, Rachel sat across from me at my own kitchen table pretending everything was normal. Candles, takeout from that Italian place with the good breadsticks. She smiled that empty smile. "How are you feeling today, Mom?" Like she cared, like she hadn't been scheming behind my back, like she hadn't whispered about doing things another way at 1:13 in the morning. I played along. "I'm feeling pretty good, sweetheart. Got some rest, did some thinking." Her eyes flickered. Hope, relief, excitement. She thought I'd given up. She thought I'd make this easy. Then she slid the papers across the table. The same papers from the locked drawer. "Mom, these are just routine forms. The realtor needs them by Monday. It's nothing to worry about." Nothing to worry about. She actually said that with a straight face. I looked directly into her eyes, didn't blink, didn't smile, didn't move. "No," I said, quietly. Calmly, "These are the papers you need before selling my house." Every drop of color drained from her face. She went pale as a ghost, pale as the sheets in the hospital room where her father died. For the first time since she showed up with her groceries and her flowers and her fake tears, my daughter looked scared. Genuinely scared. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. She closed it, opened it again. "Mom," she finally said, her voice cracking, "I don't know what you think is going on." Then I placed the metal box on the table between us. The green box from the basement. Rachel stared at it like I'd just pulled out a loaded gun. Her hands started shaking. She knocked over her water glass. Ice and water spilled everywhere and she didn't even notice. Her breath came faster and faster. I leaned across the table, looked my daughter right in her lying eyes, and whispered the words my husband left me like a weapon. "Your father knew exactly who you were." She started crying immediately, but not from guilt. Not from remorse, from panic. Because she finally realized her plan had failed. Every lie, every manipulation, every late-night phone call, every document she'd forged, every tear she'd faked. It was all for nothing. The house wasn't hers. The money wasn't hers. And I wasn't the stupid, trusting, lonely old woman she thought I was. Rachel tried to talk her way out of it. Of course she did. That's what people like her do when they get caught. I was just trying to help. The realtor pressured me. It was a misunderstanding. "I love you, Mom. I would never actually sell the house without your permission." All lies, every single word. I didn't argue. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I just sat there with my arms crossed and watched my daughter fall apart. When she finally ran out of excuses, she grabbed her purse and her phone and her jacket and walked out the front door. No goodbye, no I'm sorry, no see you tomorrow, just gone. 3 days later, I changed every lock in the house, deadbolts on every door, new keys for every window. I removed Rachel's name from my emergency contacts. I called the bank and blocked her from my accounts. I froze my credit, and I hired an attorney. A tough woman in her 50s named Margaret with gray hair and glasses and a voice that could cut through steel. She listened to my whole story, every detail, every document, every whisper in the dark. When I was done, she leaned back in her chair and said, "Don't worry, honey. I've seen this 100 times. We're going to burn her to the ground." But the last thing I did was the thing that hurt Rachel the most. The thing she never saw coming. I rewrote my will. I left everything to Carol, my neighbor, the woman who checked on me every week while my daughter disappeared for 4 months. The woman who brought me soup and drove me to appointments and sat with me in the hospital. Carol gets the house. Carol gets the money. Carol gets everything. Rachel wanted my home. She wanted my money. She wanted to sell everything I'd spent my life building so she could pay off her debts and start over somewhere far away from me. Instead, she lost her mother. I don't know if she'll ever come back. I don't know if she'll call or write or show up at my door with more groceries and more lies. But I know one thing for sure. I won't let her in. This house is mine. My memories are mine. My life is mine. And the daughter I raised, the sweet little girl who used to hold my hand every single night and tell me she loved me, that daughter died a long time ago. The woman who walked through my kitchen with a realtor and a camera and a padlock for my drawer, she's a stranger. And strangers don't get to keep your secrets, or your house, or your heart.